Hey, we're just here from a back to a new Simpsons review, and this is the last episode of season 2. Yep, we have finished season 2. This is the last episode of the second season. Wow, I cannot believe it. Season 2 has now been finished, and season 3 is just around the corner of being reviewed. So, in the last episode of season 2, it's pretty much of a crisis of saving a life. Yeah, saving a life. And we see the mayor. The episode starts with the mayor showing this big screen that shows the town basically with kind of disasters and stuff. And Mr. Burns is late. Yeah, Smithers is worried. And we see Mr. Burns is lying on the floor. And the doctor is basically saying that he needs blood. He needs some type of blood to for him to be saved. But Smithers' blood ain't good enough. And he talks about his kidney that Smithers gave to Mr. Burns. And Smithers talks to the employers about donating any blood if they have. Lisa's teaching Maggie some cards, words of cards, and Homer comes home trying to figure out kind of some blood, what kind of blood, and Margie goes on talking about how she knows everything about the family, and just so happens that Bart is the one that Mr. Burns needs blood. Yeah, Mr. Burns just so happens to need Bart's blood in order for Mr. Burns to be saved. Yeah, because Mr. Burns is dying. So Bart is having to give his blood, some of his blood, to Mr. Burns. And Homer is just telling Bart about this story with Hercules and stuff, and they go to the blood man, and Otto's actually there, and he actually does it, which Smithers comes and hugs Bart for being such a brave sport. And oh boy, when we see the blood after the thing was done, when all the doctors are tossing the blood to one another, the whole thing is it's like a gallon of blood. It's not even a little bit. It's like a whole gallon of blood. That and of course the doctor didn't even. It's just waiting in the elevator, and then he realized that he didn't press the button. So yeah, they hook on Bart's blood to Mr. Burns, and he wants to give his last words. So Smithers is writing down, and Mr. Burns is alive. He is well. Bart's blood has saved Mr. Burns' life. And Mr. Burns actually is more cheerful. Yeah, Mr. Burns is now actually cheerful. That he usually is. And even he's shocked, pretty much. And he wants to know whose blood it was that saved his life, that gave him a second chance. And Smithers tells him that it was Bart, basically Homer Simpson's son. So Mr. Burns wants to give Homer and them a good reward, or to do something for them. Homer is expecting gold and diamonds for some reason. Keeps saying that gold and diamonds, and they go outside, turn on the sprinkler, and it's just a note. Yep, it's just a letter. And Marjorie is, of course, angry at Homer because Bart did do something nice to save him, and Homer then tells Bart to write a really bad letter. Yeah, pretty much telling Mr. Burns off at his yeah, saying that he smells like a elephant's butt and just other stuff. Like his hands are girls' hands and stuff. And Homer is about to put the letter in the mailbox. But of course, Marjorie talks him out of it to do it not that night. So you see Homer dreaming of strangling Mr. Burns to get money out and then eating. Which that morning, Bart takes the mail or the letter. Yeah, Bart takes the letter that he wrote of Mr. Burns, and Homer is trying to find it. He tells Bart where it is. Bart tells him, and he starts to choke Bart. But Homer is the one that should be choking himself because he told Bart to write the letter. So him and Bart tried to get the mail or the letter before the mail lady comes. Then he starts kicking the mailbox, and he talks. He gets a watering hose and is gonna ruin the letter. But Bart does mention that other people's mail are in there. But he then goes on about it doesn't matter if other people's mail gets destroyed. Which the mail lady comes and actually stops him, which he runs. And Mr. Burns gets talked about like if he's ever slept with a rich person. It's don't know what's with that. And then Homer pretends to try to be Mr. Burns. But of course it doesn't work. So they get kicked out. So Homer tries to go into Mr. Burns' office to try to get the letter. But Mr. Burns comes. But he's not going to stab Homer, of course. It looks like that Mr. Burns is going to stab Homer with this mail opener. But he's not. Which he does find the letter he starts to read. He only read the thank you part. But right before Homer starts to leave, Mr. Burns reads the horrible things that Homer said to his boss. Then yep, Homer gets kicked out. Homer has been fired, which it was his fault. Yeah, he made Bart write the letter, but it was Homer's idea. And Mr. Burns wants Homer to be beaten. Yeah, he actually wants Homer to be beaten. He tells Mr. Burns or he tells Smithers that Homer's punishment is to be beaten. Now, they don't clarify directly if they mean beaten to death or something, but they just say beaten. Which Mar but then Homer's upset saying to Marjorie, maybe her and the kids need to go live with Marjorie's sisters, Selma and Patty, while Homer just goes and dies in a gutter, dies in an alley. And Bart is actually really sad. But again, it's not his fault. Then Mr. Smithers is Smithers is starting to basically is not wanting to hurt Homer. He's not wanting, he is telling the orders, he is giving the orders to have Homer beaten. Again, they don't clarify beaten to death or something, but beaten, but not kicked. And then he confesses that Homer's son saved Mr. Burns. And Smithers tells Mr. Burns that he was not beaten. Homer was not beaten because, again, he was saved. Yeah, Mr. Burns was given a second chance of life. He nearly died if it wasn't for Bart's blood. So, Mr. Burns wants to do something basically for Homer. And then we get, of course, the classic prank call with Moe, with Bart and Lisa. And Mr. Burns wants to, again, is going through some stuff of, him and Smithers are going through some stuff of what to get Homer. Which, they arrive at the house and bring this box. And everything seems well. And he gives Homer a book that Mr. Burns wrote, Will There Ever Be a Rainbow? And Mr. Burns gives Bart a crowbar. And of course, Lisa tells him to open the box with it. which he does, and we see this giant tiki head looking thing that was made so long ago. And Homer is asking, what does it do? But it doesn't do anything, of course. So Homer's just upset about everything, and Lisa then goes on saying that the the lesson, pretty much saying about the whole lesson and being taught and stuff, and yeah, that's how it ends, pretty much. But yeah, a real great episode to end the second season. I have not started season 3 yet. I have not begun season 3 yet. I will be soon though. So keep an eye on it. But yeah, 2 seasons down. Season 3 will be very soon. Be starting very soon. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Catch you on next one.